Hey everybody, it's Robert coming to you with another adventure into history. And on this video, I am exploring a site that I believe to be a cemetery, but I cannot prove. On this video, I explain how I found this site, what led me to believe it to be a cemetery, but I could not prove it. I look at all of this like a puzzle, putting the pieces together. However, shortly after I filmed this video, I was able to confirm this is the John Wright Cemetery that obviously at some point in its history has been desecrated and dug up. So now I present this video to you as I filmed it out in the wild, not knowing for sure that this was a cemetery. And all of the clues that made me think it was a cemetery, the nearby home site, and my doubts of not wanting to say it was definitely a cemetery without the proof that I later found. So here's the documentation of the John Wright Cemetery. Hey everybody, it's Robert coming to you with another adventure into history, and on this video we have a mystery up on this hill behind me, and I don't really quite know what it is, but we're going to investigate, document it, and see if we can figure out what it is. So let me start off by showing you where I am. I am in the hills of Meriwether County, Georgia, near the Flint River. And this land has obviously been recently clear-cut. And while exploring this area, I noticed that there was one clump of trees that had not been clear-cut. And that is where I'm standing right now. Of course, if you have been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that trees are one indication of old cemeteries, and that we often look for standing clumps of trees in areas that have been used for timber as indication of a cemetery. We look for cedar trees in places as indication for a cemetery. So naturally, I saw this standing clump of trees in this clear-cut area, and if you know me, you know that I could not resist to find out what it was. And as I pulled up to it, again, it's on a hill up above the road, I saw cornered rock, and I thought, I found a cemetery. But now I'm not quite sure. Let me show you. All right, so this is my view from the road. See, that's clearly something. And naturally, I think it's a rock wall around a burial. But as we come up here, we find this. And this is kind of disturbing here, because I don't know what this is. And this, I do not believe that this was dug out originally. You know, I don't think that it was a well. I think that somebody has dug this out in relatively modern times, and I'll tell you why. Look over there. There's a pile of dirt that's obviously on top of these rocks that were placed here. And that mound of dirt there, more than likely, came out of whatever this is. And so that makes me wonder exactly what this is. It's too big for a well. This is quite large. I'm going to measure it in just a moment so we can get kind of an idea of the size. And if this was like a flower pit, I would think it would be dug out all the way around, not just in one part of it. So I am super interested in what this may be. And was this a grave that was dug up at some time? If it was a lot of digging, but we have witnessed graves that were dug up in the past. And then behind it we have, you know, another intriguing detail, another small rock wall going that way with a old cedar tree growing in the middle of it here. Now, is this sign that this is a cemetery? Got other rock out here. Rock here. Rock here. Cedar tree stump right there. You can see that rock wall right there pretty good from this angle too, the small one. There's another pile of dirt right there. You don't know where that one came from. Obviously this hasn't been timbered recently. In fact, it's even marked off, so it won't get timbered now. This little bit of property is separated out from the rest of the area. And there's a reason that they're not bringing timbering equipment in here. The biggest reason that timber companies avoid an area is because of cemeteries and burials. But I hesitate to say for sure that that's what this is because I don't know. I'm in a county that I am not familiar with, and I don't have anyone to bounce ideas off of to try to figure out what this is. I did send some text messages to Dan, so maybe he'll be able to provide some insight at a later date. Check down at the comments. But we've got another clue right here. This right here was fenced off at one time. See? Long time ago. Cedar stump right here. And look how the tree grew over the barbed wire. Right here too. There and there. Interesting. So this little plot was fenced off. Let's come back over to here. A large, low rock wall here. Squared stone laid out in a very squared way. This wasn't haphazardly placed stone, and it was placed thick. Look how... So this is filled in some right here. So this was deeper. You can see it's kind of ground level in here now, but that dirt may have also come from there. It's filled in though, as that's a lot of just dead matter right there. So this was kind of, a raised wall at one time. We don't have cellars here. Well, we do have cellars here, but they're not very common. So I don't think that this is a cellar like that. Plus it's a little small. And I don't see any other house foundation around it. Let me grab a measuring tape. We'll measure this out. Let's document this thoroughly and see how big this is. All right, so I have the camera sitting at the corner here of this wall. We have a measuring tape here. So from end to end, this wall is 11 foot 7 inches. That's the outside diameter. Inside diameter is going to be, let's see if we can't get the tape to cooperate here. 9 feet. Width is 5 feet. We are in an area that hasn't been populated in a very long time. In fact, the hills that surround this area, I don't believe were ever populated by European settlers. This tree root here looks like it's grown alongside this where it's been dug out. So it's been dug out for a while. But I think somebody dug this out. I don't think it was originally dug out. You will have to let me know down in the comments what you think. Check the pinned comment, see, we may get an answer by the time this video comes out. But I think this is a grave that got dug up. And I could be absolutely wrong about it, but rock wall, and a fairly deep rock wall too. I'll bring that camera around and show that too. The dirt is dug out of here and piled on top of the rock wall on both sides. Both sides, you got dirt that came out of here. You can see the dirt mounded up. See if maybe we get a low level look here. You can see the mound of dirt over there behind this tree and a mound of dirt right here. That's not natural. That was dug out. And it was covered up. It covered up this rock wall. Look how squared that is. Right there, perfectly. And then if we stand right here, we can look and see this is 2 stones, not just one set of stones laid on the ground. There's one on the top, another one on the bottom for a foundation. And if these mounds of dirt were here, this wall would be slightly elevated off the ground. This behind it looks like a burial. Let's see. There's so much matter built up here. So much of this leaf matter has filled this in. I'm looking to see if I feel any headstones. And these random rocks here too. But what I don't see are indentions or anything that makes me say, yes, 100% this is a grave. Another little cluster of rock here, big rock, smaller rock, big rock, right there. And I like to keep this extremely accurate, as accurately as we can when we see these sites. We don't want to call something a grave that's not. But you can see this was dug out. Here's another view of it. Hump of dirt there. That dirt came from in there. And a hump of dirt there. That dirt came from in there. This was certainly dug out at one time. And I think that with it being walled like it is, I would think that it would be, the dirt wouldn't be on top of the wall like that. The wall would be elevated like it is down here. Here we can see, again, wall is elevated above the ground. Definitely have to put on our historical detective hats with this one to try to figure out what it is. This is interesting. If it was anything else, I'd say, well, we've just found a burial site. Between it not being timbered here, I mean, obviously we can see why they wouldn't want to run equipment in here, but at the same time, if you're doing this for timberland, you don't just bulldoze it and cover that over. But it's been marked out for a long time. In fact, this little section of land, another point to make, this little section of land is actually cut out from all of the surrounding timberland. So, you know, that square is deeded separate from this. That points, well, we see that a lot with a cemetery. It's obviously not big enough for a house. It could be a flower pit or something like that. Very likely could be something like that. But it's been dug out, I think, since it was built. This is a mystery. Back in the old days of the timber industry, and even farming in some cases, it was not uncommon for loggers to just run through a cemetery. In fact, there's a fellow I know whose father is actually one of the reasons that there's laws on the books today preserving cemeteries, because he was just sickened by the destruction that happened way back when. And I know several cases where graves were plowed over the years. So it wouldn't be uncommon to find a cemetery that was, you know, broken up many, many years ago, and then later they closed it off. We found grave sites that were destroyed by past logging operations. But dug into like that makes you wonder if, you know, someone wasn't doing the wrong thing at some point or another. Cemetery site is down there. Well, I hesitate to say cemetery site. I don't know for sure. It is a mystery. Down there, that cluster of trees, right there. We're in another site here, and I think that this was a home site. Actually, I take that back. I know that this was a home site. And I'll show you how. We did have cedar trees here. Someone has cut down. You see the cedar was right beside the pine tree right there. They cut the cedar to get the pine, and then they've just dumped the cedar trees here. They came in and got that pine tree too. This is a home site here. We've got several ways to tell. It's all plant growth. See all this privet here? It's a relatively common old home site plant. Does not grow native in the state of Georgia. It is invasive. The amount of cedar trees growing right here is very fascinating too. Finding cedars around an old home site isn't unusual either. There's a very large privet right here. So you come along and you see the different plant growth in an area. You see pine trees, pine trees, pine trees. Then you see suddenly dense growth of privet, or plants that were planted intentionally around an old home site. We have another one too. If we needed any kind of verification, this verifies it right here. Yep, this is an old hostess thing from the no, I'm just kidding. Nandina, another plant commonly found around old home sites. And I bet if we walk out here where the ground has been disturbed, we would find artifacts. This is window pane glass here. See the right there on the bottom, that's what you seal windows with. Forgot the name of it. Old piece of china right here. Old soda bottle right here. Artifacts scattered all throughout here. More privet all throughout here. The only thing we're really missing is foundation, but I think this area has been bulldozed. Anything that was foundation has been taken away. I bet the foundation, we just talked about bulldozing, but the foundation and everything got pushed up right here. See this big mound of dirt right here? No doubt. Alternatively, this road that's right here could have cut right through where the home actually was. Either way, the foundation is gone, but the artifacts are present. The plant life is present. We can say without a doubt, this is a home site. We've got a chinaberry tree right there. All old home sites have a chinaberry tree. She's verified that as a home site. Behind that home site, a clump of trees, rock wall with something that's been dug into. So what are we looking at here, folks? People who have watched these videos for years, comment down below. You're probably thinking what I'm thinking. That was a grave that got dug up many, many years ago by someone treasure hunting. Not an uncommon occurrence. We are in a very, very, very rural area. That way, down the road, there's no signs of settlement back there. There's no signs of cleared fields. There's no signs of terracing. On the side of the mountain, we've got a home site. Flatter land, terraced land. You can see terraces out there. Oh yeah, definitely see terraces out there. There's boom, flat, boom, terrace right there. I think it's a cemetery. I wonder whose it was. We're in a county I'm not familiar with, and I wish I was. Might be able to know more about this area. Some maybe early settlers, cemetery, home site, right there, behind the truck. Questionable clump of trees with weird rock wall in it, right there. So from there to there, laid out like the old family cemetery. So let me know what you think down in the comments. This is a totally just first time seeing it exploration. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time on another adventure into history, where we try to keep it factual, but sometimes we just have to go with our gut.